Well, firefighters worked through the night putting out this brush fire in Chula Vista using 2 helicopters for airdrops.
Yeah, let's get to 10 News reporter Mimi Alcala, who is there live now. Mimi, firefighters are saying they suspect this fire may have started in a homeless encampment.
Yeah, Virginia, Jim, that's definitely a possibility, but we're told this morning that the fire is still under investigation. The cause is still undetermined right now. So firefighters did put the flames out that were burning in this riverbed here off of Hollister Street, but you can see one engine still on scene here in case anything flares back up, and you can smell the smoke from about a mile away.
It's all just brush, trees. There's a riverbed, and there are a lot of homeless that go back there, so, and then with this wind, that's not helping.
So the fire erupted here in that riverbed near Hollister Street, which is on the border of San Diego and Chula Vista around 11 o'clock last night, and then quickly burned a total of 4 acres. Firefighters did attack the flames from the ground and the air until they were able to put that out. Now, there are several homeless encampments down in this area, and although officials have not yet released a cause, these encampments have caused problems with fires here before, so it's nothing new here. Winds were blowing at over 20 miles an hour last night at the time of this fire, sending the fire west, which some residents were actually thankful for because it did not blow near their homes. Now, firefighters were taking care of a few hot spots down in the middle of this area, but do have everything under control right now. For now, we're live in Chula Vista. Mimi Alcala, 10 News.
Mimi, thank you. And just about 2 hours earlier, fire crews were busy with this fire, also in Chula Vista. Started at a homeless encampment near the 805 on the National City side, but it spread into Chula Vista. CHP closed down the nearby ramp from Bonita as helicopters performed water drops. No one was hurt.
Now, a number of school districts in the county once again canceling classes today in anticipation of possible power shutoffs or because of continuing shutoffs. 10 News reporter Natay Holmes is in Poway. And Natay, some people there are waking up without power again today.
That's right. Again, more than 1,200 people in Poway here this morning are waking up with no electricity, but the outages are affecting more than just folks' homes. We can show you right behind us. We are at Poway Road and Highway 67, and you can see we're at an intersection, but the street lights are not working this morning, and crews are warning drivers to be cautious. Now, just to be on the safe side, some neighbors say they aren't leaving their home until the threat is over.
Because I've been through the fires before and I've seen them close the grade when there's been small fires and they don't let you back up. And because I have pets, I want to be able to get back home quickly.
Now, the Poway Neighborhood Emergency Corps has been alerting neighbors of the outages. It's a grassroots network that's in the city that helps spread emergency preparedness information. Now, SDG&E shut off power for several communities as a result of the high winds. Over 20,000 people are without electricity this morning, and thousands more could face potential shutoffs. Now, many students will also be staying home from school today. Several school districts canceled class, including Mountain Empire Unified, Spencer Valley, Julian Union School Districts, and many more. And of course, you can find the full list on our 10 News website. SDG&E expects power to be turned on back for customers at least this evening. Live in Poway, Natay Holmes, 10 News.
And we have new information now about both the Hillside and the 46 fire burning in San Bernardino and Riverside County. I want to take you first to the Hillside fire. This is a live look from San Bernardino, and you can see the flames on the ground. We have heard from San Bernardino County Fire that there is wind gusts up to 60 miles an hour. I want to show you some pictures from the ground of that firefight as well. Several homes burning in this one, although nothing confirmed for how many. Come back out here live and you can see this picture that we just got from San Bernardino County Fire. This shows the perimeter of that fire. 200 acres burning right now, and you see how it stretches into some of the areas with the homes. Meanwhile, the 46 fire in Riverside just found out that it is 75 acres, 0% contained, and also 3 homes and 2 other buildings were burned. That fire burning right here in between the 15 and the 91, just south of the 60. So a lot going on north of us right now, and we will stay on top of it throughout the morning. In the Live Center, Jared Aarons, 10 News.
Thank you, Jared. Now, if you include the new fires from overnight, there are more than a dozen wildfires burning across the state. The largest one is still the Kincaid fire in Sonoma County. That one has burned more than 76,000 acres and destroyed more than 130 homes. Within the last half hour, we learned the fire is now 45% contained, so that is some significant increase there. Some of the firefighters, though, haven't been home since Sunday. In Simi Valley, look at this apocalyptic sight as crews fought the easy fire while facing wind gusts of up to 70 miles an hour. A news crew had to take shelter on the other side of their car.
There was nothing they could do with that wind. This is a firestorm. We're going to the other side of the car. Seek shelter. You can see the embers.
Now, the fire also got dangerously close to the Ronald Reagan Presidential Library, but the staff there says it was spared thanks to shifting winds and, of course, the firefighters. The easy fire has burned more than 1,600 acres. LA County also dealing with the Getty fire right now. It is 39% contained. 12 homes have been destroyed, but most of those evacuation orders have been lifted. And in Riverside County, dozens of people had to evacuate in wheelchairs because the Hill fire got so close to a nursing home. But they're okay, and the evacuation orders have since been lifted. Now, you can stay on top of the progress with these wildfires as well as the weather conditions in your neighborhood by going to our website, 10news.com.
And with all these wildfires, there are still the standard house fires to respond to. New from overnight, neighbors in El Cajon stood out in the cold as firefighters rescued a man from his burning home. 10 News reporter Marie Coronel live in El Cajon. And Marie, firefighters say this man wasn't breathing when they found him.
Yeah, Jim, they were performing CPR on him as they took him to the hospital. Let me step out of the way and show you where all of this happened. You can see the gutted windows. That is where the man lived. Now I want to show you video showing you what that scene looked like just after midnight. This was after crews put out the fire on Gustavo Street. Once inside the apartment, firefighters found just piles of stuff, belongings scattered all over the floor. Crews say they had to pull the man living there out through a back door just to get him out of the building. We saw officers talking to the neighbors who were outside as they saw that yellow tape surrounding their apartment. Neighbors tell us the man living there may be in his 60s. Now, the cause of this fire at this point is still under investigation. We're live from El Cajon this morning. Marie Coronel, 10 News.
Thank you, Marie. We have some new video showing the moment U.S. Special Forces, the assault team, approached the compound where ISIS leader Abu Bakr al-Baghdadi was hiding before he was killed. This declassified video released by the Pentagon, it shows Special Forces taking fire as they fly in and fight against hostiles. After Baghdadi was killed, an explosion from an airstrike destroyed his compound. Now, the head of U.S. Central Command says DNA was used to confirm Baghdadi's identity. No U.S. troops were killed during this operation.
It is Halloween. The winds continue, and we're hoping they will die down today.
That's right, yes, and they will, especially as we head into this afternoon. Improving conditions today. The winds not as strong today as they were yesterday. Otay Mountain seeing gusts up to about 41 miles per hour. Descanso and Julian about 25 and 20 respectively. And our 10 News hour-by-hour forecast really does show those winds, those sustained winds afternoon, really come down quite a bit. Still dry though, and the brush is still dry, and that's why that red flag warning does continue until 6 p.m. You could see those winds whipping offshore right now. This is a look at your high wind warning. Again, it's for the inland neighborhoods and the mountains, in particular the foothill and the mountain area, seeing those gustier winds. Today will be warmer. We're going to be in the mid to upper 70s along our coastline, and temperatures in the 80s for Fallbrook, Escondido, Poway, and El Cajon. 83 in Santee, one of the warmer spots. 50s in the mountains with 70s in the deserts. And I'm going to be pinpointing dry conditions into the weekend and when things are going to be start improving. Kalina?
Well, we're seeing lots of yellow starting to build right now and some orange out there, which means traffic is starting to slow down around the county. So if you're going to be traveling heading into Coronado this morning, just a 3-minute ride coming off the 5, but you will see traffic as you get off the bridge and get closer to those surface streets. Then we also have slowing right now on the 805 northbound right around the 94. So speeds are down to about 30 miles per hour. And then on the 5 north right around the 54, so through National City, speeds are down to 24 miles per hour. So very quiet though in North County, aside from the traffic that we usually see through Escondido. You can see that coming off the 78 on the 15 freeway heading southbound as you make your way toward the 56. Jim?
Kalina, thank you. New from overnight, a man injured after crashing into a guardrail on the 163 freeway. The Good Samaritan came to his rescue when he unconsciously tried to drive his mangled car away.
A project decades in the making, putting power lines underground. The reason leaders say they are nowhere near completing it. This is new from overnight. Look at this damage. The driver does have some minor injuries after crashing his car into a guardrail on the 163 in Balboa Park. And the witnesses say this driver tried to drive this mangled car away. That crash happened just after 2 this morning. Good Samaritans stopped to help before emergency crews got there. A U.S. Navy sailor on his way to work also stopped and says he had to stop the man from trying to drive away.
The individual that was inside was trying to start his vehicle. I came around to the driver's side, grabbed the keys, talked to the gentleman, tried to get him to calm down a little bit.
Well, he did stay. Paramedics got there and took him to the hospital. No word yet on why he crashed, but he was being evaluated for DUI. Nobody else was hurt.
Now, a 10 News Morning Original. New reporting first at 6.
As SDG&E turns off power to make sure their utility lines don't spark wildfires, a city project wants to make overhead lines a thing of the past. 10 News reporter Jared Aarons joins us in the live center. And Jared, this effort's been going on for decades.
Yeah, Jim, the rules changed in 1970, requiring new power lines to be built underground. Since then, the city of San Diego has been working to bury all of the old ones as well. And just this month, the city council gave the green light on another $8 million worth of projects. But one city official told me this will still have a long way to go. City crews are hard at work in the Webster neighborhood, moving power lines underground and connecting homes to the new system. Since 1970, the city has buried 400 miles of utility lines in San Diego's oldest neighborhoods.
It's a safer, more reliable system, and it takes away some of the visual clutter and makes the neighborhood much nicer.
The city spends about $54 million every year on the project. The money comes from a surcharge on electric bills mandated by the California Public Utilities Commission. San Diego also gets money from SDG&E as part of their franchise agreement with the city.
We have a very solid source of funding, very reliable source of funding for these projects.
But it's a time-consuming process. There are still 1,000 miles of lines to go, and the city's master plan says it will take 54 years to finish. This map shows all the different phases throughout San Diego, ranging from the areas in blue, which are done, to the light gray areas, where money hasn't even been allocated yet. They ask for patience as the project moves forward.
There's a lot that the neighbors have to go through with the noise and the disruption of construction, but in the end, there's a great benefit to the neighborhood. You know, all of these overhead lines will come down at the end. That improves the safety for the neighborhood and improves aesthetics and just makes it a much nicer place. City of San Diego says they have the most aggressive undergrounding program in the state. And to try and speed things up, they actually increased management staff over the last few years from 4 people to 20. Now, if you'd like to take a look at this map for yourself, maybe dive into it a little more, see where your neighborhood falls, we've put a link to it on our website. It's under the red TV button. In the Live Center, Jared Aarons, 10 News.
Thank you, Jared.
It's going on in my neighborhood in Bay Park. For some of the homes, I don't have a view, but some people do. You know, they can see the bay, and when those lines come down, boy, that's going to really improve their property values, I would think.
Their view and their property values.
And so much safer. I was thinking about that when I was driving around yesterday. I was like, we got to get all these things underground. All right, let's show you the chilly temperatures we're starting off with this morning. It will even be colder tomorrow because those winds are going to calm. Right now, Poway at 36 degrees, 40 in El Cajon, 41 in Oceanside. And with the clear skies and calming winds tonight, it is going to be quite chilly for trick-or-treaters. I will have that forecast for you coming up in our next half hour. But I want to show you the winds right now. Otay Mountain gusting to 40, 41 in Hellhole Canyon up in the North County, and Tierra del Sol right across the border, 31 miles per hour, right above the border, I guess I should say. So 10 News Futurecast really highlighting our foothill and mountain areas. Once again, that's where the stronger winds will be today. After noon, those winds really do taper off pretty quickly. However, it will still be dry, and that's why those critical fire conditions still exist. Right now, we're seeing quite a bit of single-digit humidity levels. That gets worse as we head through the morning. As those temperatures start to climb, the humidity levels actually will drop. And even into tomorrow, this is at 12:30, inland neighborhoods still pretty dry. Offshore winds, weak Santa Ana winds will continue tomorrow and Saturday, and that's why fire danger will remain a little elevated. It won't be as windy, but it's still going to be pretty dry, and we have such dry brush out there as well. So that scary quick drop in temperatures tonight, I will say for the older kids heading out tonight, temperatures will be in the 50s with a few 40s, while the mountain areas will be in the 30s. Temperatures in the low to mid 70s through the weekend along our coast, 60s next week with that sea breeze finally returning. Inland neighborhoods, we're going to see temperatures in the 80s for some areas today, into the 80s tomorrow and Saturday, and then a little bit cooler next week. For our mountain areas, back to the 60s tomorrow, really cold tonight as those winds calm down. Could see some freezing temperatures. Temperatures near 70 by Sunday and 80s by Saturday in the deserts. Kalina?
It is 6:19, and as you head out the door for your Halloween, it's slowing down out there. So the 805 northbound right at Bonita, we do have the carpool lane blocked off. This is just before the 54, and up ahead on the 805, we have traffic building right now, right around the 94. So speeds here down to 26 miles per hour. 5 freeway northbound right around National City down to about 21 miles per hour as well. An overview for you shows you the rest of the area. So far the 15 looks great. Once you get away from National City on the 5 northbound, you're nice and clear. But the 52 is slowing down out of East County. So right around the 125, traffic now building, starting to back up right now from the 67. Virginia?
Thank you, Kalina. He admitted to paying $250,000 to bribe his son's way into USC. Now a Solana Beach dad knows his sentence for his part in the college admission scandal.
Fans going wild as the Washington Nationals have been crowned World Series champions.
Skycam View, sponsored by San Diego County Credit Union. It's not big bank banking, it's better.
6:23 on your Thursday morning as we continue to monitor the situation. This is in North San Bernardino County. The hillside fire has scorched more than 200 acres, most of that in very rural land, but it has come up to an area where there are homes. And from what we've seen this morning, at least 3 of those homes appear to have been burned to the ground, and you can see the fires continue there as we look live at the area right now. There are more than 350 firefighters in the area fighting this from the air and ground, trying to get this under control.
Happening right now, we've got a live look at the U.S. House of Representatives. They were just called into session a few minutes ago, and they are beginning the discussion about articles of impeachment. Today's vote is more procedural to lay out kind of the ground rules for inquiries, committees, and what will happen going forward. The vote itself is scheduled to take place in just about 1 hour from now. So it'll be interesting to see how this plays out. But you can see, again, as we come back out here live, members of the House already debating the articles of impeachment that the Democratic Party has put forward. In the Live Center, Jared Aarons, 10 News.
Thank you, Jared. Yesterday, we told you about the parents who say their 4-year-old who has autism wandered out of his school in Serra Mesa. Well, now another family says it happened to them at a different school. Candalee Carbonell says her son Cole has autism and that he walked out of Miller Elementary in Tierra Santa without any of the staff noticing. She says he ended up walking home about half a mile away.
They should have called 911, called the police, then called me, and I could have helped. I could have been somewhere. I could have come home. I could have been here for my son.
Instead, she says the principal went to the family's home to look for Cole herself. Now, Carbonell says she didn't get a call about what had happened until Cole was taken back to school. The principal says she went herself because she knew he would respond better to a familiar adult. She also promised to have better communication with Cole's parents in the future.
Father from Solana Beach who admitted to buying his son's way into college will spend the next 2 months in prison. Judge sentenced Jeffrey Bizek and ordered him to pay a $250,000 fine. That is the same amount that he paid to get his son into USC as a fake volleyball recruit. Prosecutors had initially argued to give Bizak 9 months in prison with a $75,000 fine.
It is turning out to be quite the year for former SDSU Aztec Steven Strasburg. He has been named the MVP of the World Series after the Washington Nationals beat the Houston Astros in a decisive Game 7 last night. Strasburg, who went 5-0 in the postseason, was presented with the Willie Mays Award. And see that car there? Yeah, that's a brand new Corvette Stingray for him. Earlier this year, another former Aztec, Kawhi Leonard, remember he was named the NBA Finals MVP.
Go Aztecs.
Wow.
Good deal. Talented folks. Happening today, superheroes will take a quick break from fighting crime and will instead be cleaning the windows over at the Rady Children's Hospital. It's an annual tradition this time of year. Window washers will be rocking tights, capes, and masks to bring some smiles to the patients. And they will be outside of the acute care pavilion starting at 8 o'clock this morning. Another day of fire concerns and power outages. We are live in Poway, where some neighbors are still in the dark.
The fire we told you about this morning that started on the Mexico side of the border has now spread into the U.S. in just the last hour. We're going to have an update for you coming up next.
You can hear those strong winds fueling a fire in San Bernardino overnight, the flames engulfing several homes in just a few hours.
Here in San Diego, firefighters taking to the air and the ground to battle a brush fire.
And then with this wind, that's not helping.
What firefighters believe may have sparked those flames.
Thousands around the county are waking up this morning without power, including here in Poway, but the outages are affecting more than just people's homes.
And good morning to you on this Halloween. The winds continue. I'm Jim Patton.
Hi there, I'm Virginia Cha. Megan Perry is tracking that wind for you. Megan, you're saying we still have to get through a few hours before the worst of it's over.
Yeah, that's right. The wind's not as strong today as they were yesterday, but still critical fire conditions. A red flag warning continues, and you can see this lasts until 6 p.m. Those sustained winds are down 15 to 30 miles per hour. Gusts anywhere from 30 to 50 miles per hour anywhere in this warning zone, and that 50 mile per hour range is really going to be the high end. That on top of the single-digit humidity levels will lead to fire growth that will spread quickly for any fires that spark. So just be extra safe today and make sure not to be dragging anything underneath your car or do anything that could spark a fire over brush. 42 mile per hour winds in Hell Hole Canyon up in the North County, 40 in Otay Mountain, 13 though in Alpine. And as you mentioned, the winds are going to calm down quite quickly after this afternoon. In fact, in our 10 News hour by hour forecast, doing a really good job showing that. In fact, the high wind warning for inland neighborhoods and mountains will now expire at noon rather than originally expiring at 6 p.m. Temperatures mostly in the 70s with a few 80s for our inland neighborhoods today. And I will have a look at your trick or treat forecast as I come back with your folk forecast. All right, how's it looking on our roads this morning, Kalina?
Well, we're still starting to see delays out there, lots of red building, and we saw this crash on the 805 northbound right at Bonita. It is involving a semi-truck and another car here, so we are starting to see a little bit of a delay north on 805 and then up ahead on the 805 right around the 94. Speeds are down to 21 miles per hour. 94 also starting to slow down as you head all the way out toward the 5. And then our usual slow spot on the 5 northbound right around the 54, so through National City. The 5 north, though, that is accident-free, so that's some good news for you. The rest of San Diego starting to build up a little bit. 52 right around the 125 and the 15 in North County through Escondido.
I grew up here. I grew up on the street, and we called it the jungle back there.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because it's all just brush.
Yeah, overnight residents in Chula Vista fearing the worst as a brush fire burned dangerously close to their homes. Firefighters able to knock it out using 2 helicopters for airdrops.
10 News reporter Mimi Alcala is there live in Chula Vista. Mimi, firefighters are saying that this may have started in a homeless encampment.
Yeah, Virginia, Jim, and the cause is currently under investigation. They are looking into that. But this area here right off of Hollister Street is full of heavy brush. You heard that resident call it the jungle. That's what they refer to it as here. And there's a riverbed right down there as well. You can see one single engine remains here on scene. The fire is out, but they're looking to make sure no hot spots pop up.
You know, you're never ready for this.
Street were concerned about the fire's close proximity to their buildings, so some came by to prepare for the potential emergency as fire crews continued fighting these flames from the ground and up above. You're looking at video from our 10 News breaking news tracker. The fire erupted here in that riverbed near Hollister around 11 last night and quickly burned 4 acres. Many homeless individuals are known to live in encampments down in this area filled with that heavy brush and have caused fires here before. But again, right now firefighters don't have any suspects and say the cause is still undetermined, but they aren't ruling anything out. They were putting out hot spots earlier this morning in the middle of the area, but did wrap everything up here. We're live in Chula Vista. Mimi Alcala, 10 News.
I'm Jared Aarons in the 10 News Live Center. We have some new information about the copper fire burning on our border. CAL FIRE San Diego says that right now it has jumped across the border and is burning 50 acres on the U.S. side. Sky 10 is overhead right now, and you can see this is what the fire looks like. At least you could see if the signal was clearer. It's going in and out, but we have some video to show you of the fire from earlier this morning and also from yesterday. This is what that fire looked like. There is no word on how big it is on the Mexico side of the border, but again, 50 acres on the U.S. side, and CAL FIRE says that they are working fast to try and get it under control on this side, and firefighters are engaged on the south side of the border as well. And right now, again, we have this live pic back here from Sky 10. You can see the flames just on the other side of the border burning right now in South San Diego County. In the Live Center, Jared Aarons, 10 News.
Jared, thank you. And let's get right to Nate Holmes live in Poway. Nate, some people there are waking up without power again today.
Yes, waking up without power again. That number is about 1,200 here in Poway, but the outages are affecting more than just people's homes. You can actually see the flashing lights behind me. That's because we are at Poway Road and Highway 67. The street lights are also out this morning, and there is a deputy out here directing traffic. Traffic has picked up a little bit, but it's still very dark out here, and there's been quite some confusion among drivers out here this morning. Now, we want to get you to some video. This is a sign on State Route 67 that we saw on our drive up here, and crews are warning drivers to be cautious because those street lights are out. SDG&E shut off power to several communities as a result of the high winds. About 19,000 people are without electricity. That number is a little lower than it was yesterday, so that's good news, but still people could face potential shutoffs. Now, many students will also be staying at home today. Several school districts canceled classes, including Mountain Empire Unified, Spencer Valley, Julian Union school districts, and much more. And of course, you can find that full list on our 10 News website. But back out here live, you can see that deputy directing traffic here at State Route 67 and Poway Road. And SDG&E expects power to be turned back on for most customers at least this evening. Live in Poway, Nate Holmes, 10 News.
Thank you, Nate. And look at this. The Santa Ana winds have been so powerful in some areas, they toppled big rigs on the 15. This is in Fontana. We first had this for you on 10 News midday yesterday. The winds were whipping through a busy stretch of the freeway there, toppled 3 semis. Traffic, of course, as you would imagine, backed up as crews worked to clear that scene, but there were no word on any injuries.
In South LA, a fire erupted in a lumber yard, threatening nearby properties and power lines. Fire started just after 8 last night, prompted a massive firefighting response to get those flames under control, especially under these red flag conditions. It knocked out power to nearly 1,500 businesses and homes nearby. Took firefighters 2 hours to get those flames knocked down. Cause is under investigation.
Meanwhile, here in San Diego, some districts are considering extending the school year to make up for the number of days they've had to close because of fire danger and shutoffs. The state requires schools to be open for 180 days. Now, the superintendent in Julian tells our media partners at KPBS that they are losing so many days each year, they might have to keep school in session into June. They're also looking at other solutions, including having generators that can keep schools open even when power is out. A quick way to get updates on power outages, fires, and the conditions in your neighborhood is through the 10 News app. It is free in the App Store or Google Play. This is breaking overnight. North Korea launching 2 projectiles into the sea off the Korean coast. Now, according to the South Korean military, the unidentified projectiles landed in the water between South Korea and Japan. South Korea and Japan will both investigate whether those projectiles were missiles. And if it's confirmed as a missile test, it would have been the first by Pyongyang in nearly a month. The U.S. and North Korea held nuclear talks at that time after that test, but they ended without an agreement.
Some lighter news this morning. Thousands will flock to downtown Encinitas for Halloween festivities. It is the city's 18th annual Safe Trick-or-Treat event. Goblins, superheroes, and witches will stroll up and down Pumpkin Lane, also known as Coast Highway 101, for trick-or-treating. The street will be open still to car traffic, but the sidewalk's going to be very busy. Dozens of businesses will be decked out, handing out goodies. A lumberyard courtyard will have lots of festivities for kids as well. Festivities run from 5 to 8 p.m.
A red flag warning continues until 6 p.m. for critical fire conditions. I am pinpointing the dropping winds this afternoon.
Pursuit ends with a crash in a lakeside neighborhood, and the search for the couple involved continues this morning.
One of downtown San Diego's busiest streets could close to traffic for good. The plan that would make 5th Avenue pedestrian only.
Meanwhile, the markets are opening down slightly. The Nasdaq is up, though, 25 points. Dow down 45, S&P up 10. The merger between two car companies, Fiat and Peugeot, is complete. They're going to be a $50 billion car company. Meanwhile, GE is up 14% based off of a strong earnings report. And Apple will release its fourth quarter earnings. People are saying that will be the first look at how good sales have been for the iPhone 11. We'll be back in just a minute.
Today's market update sponsored by California Coast Credit Union, improving lives in our community.
Taking another live look at the U.S. House of Representatives, where right now they are debating the rules going forward for the next step of the impeachment inquiry. They're discussing how public testimony and hearings will take place over the next few weeks. This is the second step in the inquiry process. After that will be the articles of impeachment if they decide to move forward. They're expecting a vote on these rules in just about 45 minutes. Guys?
And we're still in that red flag warning. Clear skies across the county right now as we wake up looking at Chula Vista this morning. Sure does look beautiful, though it is quite chilly. I've been getting a lot of messages this morning about, whoo, it's cold this morning. And yes, it is. Poway at 35, 41 in El Cajon, 36 in Mount Laguna. Just a degree warmer than Poway right now. Tonight is going to be even colder because those winds are going to calm down. We have clear skies and those temperatures are going to be plummeting pretty quickly. But right now the winds are still with us, up to about 45 miles per hour for parts of the North County near Palomar Mountain at Hellhole Canyon, 41 in Otay Mountain, 18 in Alpine, and about 17 in Julian. And the winds won't be as strong today. And 10 News Futurecast doing a really good job showing the foothill and the mountain areas dealing with the strongest winds. And they will actually taper off pretty quickly after noon today. This is at 3:30 this afternoon. And that's why those temperatures are going to get freakishly chilly as we head into our trick or treat. So we'll start off fairly warm, pretty mild, we'll say, for the younger kids heading out early, about 5 o'clock or so, in the 70s for the coast and inland neighborhoods, 50s though in the mountains. And then for the older kids heading out, temperatures are going to plummet into the 50s. And if you're in the mountains, we're talking about 30s. So high fire risk again through the morning, and conditions do improve pretty quickly as we head into the later afternoon, but it will remain dry. And in fact, fire danger remains elevated tomorrow because it's still going to be dry. The wind's not so much of an issue. Low to mid 70s into the weekend along our coast, and we get that extra hour of sleep on Sunday as we fall back. Our inland neighborhoods, a few 80s today, more 80s tomorrow and Saturday, with 70s Sunday into next week. The mountain areas back into the 60s tomorrow, and a couple more days in the 70s in the deserts. Kalina?
Well, we have delays right now on the 805 and the 5 freeway, both heading northbound. 805 because of a crash we have right at Bonita that is still here. Carpool lane is blocked off. It's